Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel, where we break down South Africa's political theatre with all the drama, suspense, and irony it truly deserves. If it's bold, controversial, or just downright bizarre, you know we're going to cover it right here. Today, we're diving into the latest dramatic chapter unfolding in the ever-spiraling saga of the Bonginkosi Party, better known as the MK Party. Now, this story has it all: traditional leaders feeling snubbed, mysterious no-shows, whispers of witchcraft, and a faction war brewing in Jacob Zuma's political backyard. So grab your tea, your popcorn, or whatever you need to digest political drama, because this one is rich. Let's start at the beginning. So, more than 100 traditional leaders, yes, you heard right, over 100 Amakhosi from across South Africa, made the long journey to Nkandla this past weekend. Their mission? To meet with the man himself, former president and MK Party leader Jacob Zuma. Their goal was simple: they wanted to put forward a candidate from their ranks to take over as Secretary General of the party. Seems straightforward, right? Well, not in Zuma's world. Upon arrival, these respected traditional leaders were reportedly met with silence. No Zuma. No greetings. Not even an excuse. According to Prince Khulekani Dlomo from the Mokobelini Traditional Council in Kranskop, KwaZulu-Natal, they were told there would be a meeting. They showed up in their regalia, full of respect and expectation, only to be informed that Zuma had absolutely no idea they were coming. Imagine traveling across provinces, only to be told, sorry, the meeting wasn't in his diary. Now, this didn't just ruffle feathers. It caused serious offense. Dlomo said quite bluntly, the Amakhosi felt like they were being treated as commoners within the party. That's a strong statement coming from people who hold centuries of ancestral legitimacy. These are not your average party members. These are custodians of culture, tradition, and community authority. And yet, they say, they were handled like political nobodies. But here's where it gets even spicier. They weren't just coming to Nkandla for tea and small talk. They came with an agenda. Top of their list? A demand, or let's say a strong request, for Zuma to let them choose the next Secretary General of the MK Party. They already had someone in mind, Induna Phumlani Mfeka. Mfeka is known as a staunch African nationalist and heads the Nguni, a movement rooted in Zulu traditional values and Pan-Africanism. Now, these Amakhosi believe the next SG shouldn't just be a politician with party loyalty. They want someone who understands their protocols, their way of communication, and, frankly, someone who won't leave them hanging at the gates of Nkandla. And who can blame them? According to Dlomo, Sunday's embarrassment, where they were left high and dry, would never have happened if the party already had a Secretary General who understood how to handle such high-level traditional affairs. In other words, had Mfeka already been in office, the event would have been on the calendar, on the gate list, and on Zuma's mind. Now, here's where the plot thickens. Because of course, this wouldn't be a proper South African political drama without a factional twist. You see, not everyone in the MK Party is backing the Amakhosi's choice. There's another name being thrown into the ring, Bonginkosi Khanyile, the firebrand activist and former Fees Must Fall leader known for his militant style and fiery rhetoric. That's right, the same Khanyile who once stormed parliament in red overalls and remains one of the most controversial figures in radical politics today. So, on one hand, you have the traditionalists, led by Amakhosi, rooting for a culturally grounded, nationalist Induna Mfeka. On the other, the militant wing wants a young, rebellious firestarter in Khanyile. And stuck in the middle, good old Jacob Zuma, the master of playing factions against each other, probably sipping tea in Nkandla watching it all unfold like a telenovela. The MK Party spokesperson Lamilo Ndlila says the new Secretary General will be announced in due course. Translation: They're probably still trying to make sure the announcement doesn't spark a complete civil war within the party ranks. Now, let's not forget why the position is vacant in the first place. That story is another episode of chaos. The last person who held the Secretary General title was none other than Floyd Shivambu, yes, that Floyd Shivambu, who crossed the floor from the EFF to MK, in one of the most unexpected political switch-ups in recent memory. But Shivambu didn't last long. He was axed in June after an unsanctioned trip to Malawi to attend a church service hosted by fugitive pastor Shepherd Bushiri. You remember Bushiri, the millionaire preacher who vanished from South African soil while out on bail and hasn't looked back since. The official line was that Shivambu's Malawi trip was out of line. But unofficially, well, the rumor mill says he was planning a full-blown coup within the party. Yes, apparently, he wanted to dethrone Zuma and take over the leadership himself. Even more bizarre, Shivambu reportedly faced accusations of accumulating supernatural powers to bewitch fellow party members. That's right, witchcraft is now a reason to be expelled from high-level party structures in 2025. At this point, we wouldn't be surprised if the next NEC meeting involved a sangoma and a bottle of holy water. So here we are. Zuma's MK Party is in a leadership limbo. Traditional leaders are demanding respect and representation. Two competing factions are circling each other with knives drawn. And somewhere in the middle, the country is watching, wondering, is this a political movement or a live-action soap opera? What happens next could define the future of the MK Party. If Zuma bows to the Amakhosi, it'll be a powerful symbolic move, aligning the party closer to traditional authority and possibly securing deep rural support. But if he chooses the militant path with Khanyile, the party could become a louder, brasher, more radical force, something that might appeal to the frustrated, unemployed youth. Either way, the MK Party is teetering between cultural revivalism and political insurgency. And as always, Jacob Zuma sits at the eye of the storm, calm, calculating, and probably one step ahead of everyone. Thanks for sticking with us through this wild ride. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Who do you think should be the next MK Secretary General, the traditionalist Mfeka or the militant Khanyile? Or is there a third name waiting in the wings? Until then, keep questioning, keep watching, and remember, in South African politics, the truth is often stranger than fiction. See you next time.